Hello and welcome to all well-rounded pianist members. This is the first of a 6-part tutorial series on Scott Joplin's magnetic rag. I get a lot of requests for doing tutorials on this, and I finally got around to doing one. This will be really exciting. I want to teach the whole piece to you, and I have a couple, I think 3 by now, 3 performances on YouTube. They're all a little bit different. You can listen to those if you haven't listened to those already. And I have free sheet music available where you can just click on the link. If you're a member, you can click on the link when you log in next to the video, and you can get your sheet music. Basically, the free sheet music is a copy from IMSLP, and it comes from the original edition. The original edition of Magnetic Rag like this, which comes out of that book with the maple leaf on it, which has since fallen off my book. But it is the exact same copy as this one I have here. You're also welcome to use any other copies you have of Magnetic Rag, but just make sure the notes are correct. There are many errors in books I've detected. So you're safe using this one because there's no errors in this. Another thing is, if you're not experienced with ragtime yet, I would highly suggest going over to the BachScholar piano method. When you log into the Well-Rounded Pianist, BachScholar piano method, go under daily exercises and select octaves. And you can set, there's a whole page full of very practical exercises for learning to play octaves. If you want to play ragtime, that is the first prerequisite you need to do. If you want to play ragtime, you don't really need to know scales. Scales, up and down the piano, the traditional classical scales up and down. That's not really going to help you much for ragtime. A little bit, maybe. But if you want to play ragtime, you cannot play ragtime if you cannot play octaves. If you cannot reach an octave, or if you play octaves incorrectly, you're going to have a very difficult time playing ragtime. So I would highly suggest that. So those 2 things: get your sheet music and go to BachScholar Piano Method Daily Exercises and view some videos there on octave exercises if you need some more work on that. Those are the most important things, because once you can play octaves well in both hands, and you're going to have a much easier time with playing ragtime. Now, I have this tutorial series broken up into video 1. This video right here will focus on the A section, the first page, and part 2 of the video 2, will focus on the B section, the second page, so forth and so on. The next 2 pages, each will have its own video designated to it. And then we'll have one for the coda. That's a total of 5. And then, after I do all the 5, the summary video, I'm going to go through the entire piece and play it for you while I'm talking to just summarize things, to explain things. Also, the reason why I'm not doing this video from an overhead view is I want to get in the habit of not spoon-feeding notes to you all the time. You need to get in the habit of reading your notes. And also, I have this on a super slow video anyway. So if you would like to see an overhead camera view from approximately half speed, just go to Ragtime Academy super slow Joplin, and you can find this one in there with many other Joplin rags. So you have that option also, the super slow video from overhead camera view. And then now I have the 6-video tutorial series on Magnetic Rag, probably one of his greatest rags, and the one I get requests on the most for tutorials. I finally got around to doing it. I'm happy about that. Now let's get started. I'm just going to take one hand at a time. I'm going to take the left hand first. I'm grabbing my metronome over here. You need to be very steady with your rhythm. Ragtime is very mechanical. very mechanical with its rhythm. I'm going to pick a slow speed here, just to get started with. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to pick 72. That's approximately half speed. If I remember correctly, I think 72 was the last tempo I performed it at, and I think I've decided I like it at that speed a little better than the faster speed I did a long time ago. My first recording on YouTube, I think I did in the 80s, like 84. I don't know, it's good. Some days I just think it's too fast. So I think I'm gravitating more towards the tempo of 72 per half note. I know it says 4/4, but this is really, you want to really think cut time here. There really should have been a line through that C indicating cut time. So if you're playing at half speed, kind of like the way I do my super slow video, you're going to put it on 72, and you're going to play quarter note equals 72. So let's try that again. Have that. Now let's get started with the left hand. Make sure you hold those half notes on the bottom. Make sure you play all quarter notes short. Play them all staccato. Here to the G minor chord, that's on the fourth line down. Do not use 5-3-1. Use 4-2-1. That's a general rule in ragtime. Whenever you have an octave down here or a single note, and then you're jumping up to a chord, make sure, well, usually if it's smaller than about an interval of a sixth, you want to use either the fourth or the third finger on the bottom note. That's so you can free up the fifth finger to get down to the bass. So you have your octave, you're traveling up to 4, so don't automatically go to 5 here. That's what beginners do. That's a beginner fingering. You don't want that. You want to get in the habit of expanding your hand out and going to like your fourth finger here, or sometimes your third finger also would work if it's a smaller chord. We'll probably get to that later. Anyway, so 4-2-1. Here's a good example. Try to use 4 on that chord. 5-3-1 will work on that, but I think if you can expand and do 4-2-1, this is the fourth line down, last measure over. Keep them staccato. And then I'm back to the beginning here. I just ended the first ending. Make sure you can follow along with your score. Now, I would highly suggest if you can't play hands together, which is okay, practice diligently just the left hand. You need to get the left hand very solid because that's the foundation of ragtime is the left hand. I would suggest always learning the left hand first in ragtime, which is why I'm doing this here. So let's put it on 72. It's about half speed. And we're going to play from the very beginning, the intro, all the way to the first ending. Two, 4. repeats. Okay, and it is a good idea. We'll omit the repeats for time's sake now, but I would suggest including the repeats when you play this for yourselves. That is the left hand with no pedal. Now we are going to play the right hand. We'll go around the same speed. So work out a fingering that'll work for you. Okay, I don't want to give you every single finger on every single note. That's not the purpose of these tutorials. But if you want more on that, you can watch the super slow video where you can see an overhead view. Let's try that again. 72. Actually, I'm going to try 3, 1, 2. Now this is a little tricky. You know, if you're not used to playing polyphonic music, like by Bach or somebody like that, you need to learn how to play 2 notes at a time. It might be a little tricky for some of you, but you want to hold your thumb down on that. Then you can bring your thumb up to here. You could either play 5, 5, 4, 5, or you could do 3, 4, 5. Either one of those. And you can let go of the thumb. Right when you play that B flat, you can let go of the thumb. 2, 5, 1, 4. Joplin gives a fingering here, and I think this is Joplin's fingering. I don't think it's from the publisher. It might be from the publisher. I'm not sure. Anyway, they have fingering here in the original edition. I would suggest not using that fingering. I would suggest 5, 2, yes. I would suggest a 3 on the B flat, not 4. I would suggest 5 on the D, and then go over and play 1, 2. The reason is putting your thumb under here is not a good idea. It inhibits the stretching out of the hand. Also, you can't hold that D down. I mean, holding that D isn't that important anyway. And that's what I would do. And because this D does not need to be connected to that G. So you have two, 5 is good there. Their fingering is good here. I would use that. The fingering is okay. And when you let go of that. So you want 2-note slur there. You want this legato. Bring out all the syncopations. Bring those out a little bit more. Repeats. And now I'm going to do it without talking. I'm going to put it on 72 and put just the right hand, no pedal. not experienced with ragtime, the syncopations might be a little challenging for you. If that's the case, I would suggest counting out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to take, for example, the fourth line down. Fourth line down. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So you have that syncopation on the end of 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Once you get in the swing of the eighth notes, then the eighth notes kind of take over. But you might want to try counting out loud a little bit with maybe 1 and 2 and, if you're having problems with that. Now we're going to go over, so what you need to do to learn this section. Of course, learn hands alone. Learn left hand first, no pedal. Learn right hand first, no pedal, with a metronome, preferably at about half speed, or a little faster if you can. Then put hands together. That's what we're going to do now. Then after that, I'm going to add some pedal. And I'm going to explain pedaling. Pedaling is very important in ragtime. Many pianists think, oh, you don't need pedal. Yes, you do need pedal. To play ragtime well and artistically, you do need pedal. So I'm going to explain that last. But now I want to go over this first section now. Hands together. So you've got a handle on the hands separately. Now we're going to put them together. Just to keep us grounded, I'm going to put it on 72 here. So we have, this is about half speed. So, no pedal. Listen to the legato. Did you hear how I was really emphasizing the staccato notes in the left hand, bouncing off the staccato notes? Most pianists, when they try to play ragtime, if they're not experienced, tend to play notes too long. You need to get in the habit of playing shorter, bouncing off the keys. And you need to play with an ease of motion and focus on the beauty of the sound. Pretend like it's by Mozart and not Joplin. Just because it's Joplin and it's ragtime doesn't mean you can be sloppy and play it on, crappy out-of-tune pianos and all of that. Try to really give it reverence. This is great music. This is like classical music, actually, so it needs to have that feeling to it. Now you're going to go over that a few times, hands together like we did, no pedal. Now I'm going to explain how to use the pedal. The Rubinstein used to say the pedal is the soul of the piano. And I totally agree with Rubinstein. So many pianists just have no clue how to use pedal in ragtime or other music, for that matter. I want to explain that. Okay, now let's start. I'm going to play it through slowly, probably even slower than half speed. No metronome. I'm just going to explain how to go about using the pedal. Now here, you don't have to, but you can push the pedal down when you hit that E flat. Gives it a little more ring. You can push the pedal down on that D. That's optional. I kind of like to do that, or I'm sort of in the habit of doing that. Pedal. And then also, it makes it so you can connect it to the next note. Pedal. When you get to the chromatic scale here, let go of the pedal. No pedal. I would use a little pedal on that. Let's use about a half a second of pedal. You don't. If you do that, it's dry. If you do, sorry. If you do that, here's no pedal. Here's with pedal. Here it resonates a little more. So you can experiment with that. I would use pedal on that chord. It has an accent on it. Now, pedal. Don't use pedal on here, but use it right after you push the D and the F. Use the pedal. I like to use it here because Joplin implied a legato with his half notes in the left hand. It's nice and legato, but now you contrast that. I would use no pedal on those measures. It really comes across well when you do that. You have two measures that are pedaled, more legato, followed by two measures that are more staccato, that are drier. So you get this effect. Then you go back to the pedal. Ooh, that sounds nice. I would use pedal on both those octaves because it's expanding, it's crescendoing to a forte here. Pedal, 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 little less pedal. And from there on, you don't really need much pedal. But you want to use the pedal to help you crescendo up to that level. So we have, I'm going to start from the third line down here. No pedal here. Return to the pedal there when you get back after the first ending. It's almost like Brahms or something like that. So you have that richness of the pedal followed by the dryness. This is beautiful music. I love this. Stay tuned now for the part 2, the B section, and do get in the habit of doing this. Learn the left hand first, then the right hand, put them together with no pedal. Then you need to start adding pedal. It's not complete until you add pedal. So stay tuned for part 2.